this could change everything for AMC stock. Couple different things, actually, like two different things in particular. One, there is a very influential individual on X that is now buying AMC that could have more influence on Adam Aaron and on maybe other individuals to buy more AMC. This likely is part of what's happening today with AMC. But there's also something else that the more I dig into it, the more I'm starting to expect this will happen. So we're going to get into it here in this video. We're going to also break down everything you need to know specifically on AMC stock. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Thank you for tuning in today, and let's get into it. So first things first, AMC stock is up a little bit today. It's up like 1.22%. Nothing too crazy. You were up about 3% earlier in the day today. But it seems like the markets kind of started coming down after that 7-year bond auction. We'll talk about that later on throughout this video as well. But I do want to start with what could be a game changer, could change everything for AMC. It's going to come down to this. So number one, part one of these two things, Pulte. He's on Twitter, 3.1 million followers. He says, tomorrow morning I'm buying AMC. I'm not buying it because it will be instantly profitable, but I believe that if the company listens more to the people and there's certainly a base of people, then it will be more profitable. I will dig more into what's going on. Call me at Adam Aaron. Okay. So basically, he's buying a position in AMC, right? And we'll look at other tweets as well. But he's directly calling on Adam Aaron to, literally call him. And he has 10 times the amount of followers that Adam Aaron has. So that just puts it into a little bit of perspective, how big Pulte is here on X. He says if AMC starts listening to its people, I think that's the most important part. Because if AMC does listen to its people, then you get the second part of what could be a total game changer or change everything for AMC. Because it's clear the people want less dilution. And I think that's really what you need to see at this point to get AMC stock to perform well from here. And I think there's more and more pressure to, see that happen now. So we'll see what happens in regards to this, but definitely so far so good. He says, I'm in favor of GME community, AMC community, BBY community, PHM community, and IEP community. We bring people together. We don't divide. We do it with charity every single day. We do it here. If you don't like it, bye-bye. So yeah, kind of, trying to be another force to pull people together, obviously to, make money, right? That's obvious. He's not investing in this for, just because. He says, as promised, AMC, and you can see his position here. Well, you can't see the position, but you can see that he now owns AMC in some capacity or another. This individual says, bro, why are you buying AMC? He says, we are stronger together, not divided. Trust me. And then some of the most recent tweets are pretty interesting as well. He says, I see a lot of people commenting on me buying stock in another company, so much so that it's trending on Twitter overnight. And yet again today, if you don't care, go live your life. But if you care to watch, we will bring people together. The system is corrupt. We need to win. Hashtag AMC. Then he says the stock market is corrupt from the top to the bottom. Now, this I think it's good just to bring more people into AMC. A lot of people just blindly follow individuals, especially individuals with over 3 million followers on X. A lot of people just blindly follow. That's not what is, really good in my opinion. I think it's going to be a louder voice for Adam Aron, to tell Adam Aron that you need to stop diluting shareholders. When that happens, mixed with the confluence of recent events, like we talked about earlier today in the video that came out at 1 p.m. I mean, if you look at stock twits, you have extremely bullish sentiment today for AMC. High message volume at 74. This is very good. This is the highest we've seen both of these indicators at the same time. AMC stock is now up 3 days in a row. If you can start to get some more momentum at this point, that is going to be big for AMC. And the whole reason why AMC is down in the dumps to begin with, it's not because the business has not been performing. AMC's business has been doing very well, right? Continues to do very well. The reason AMC is not, performing very well is why? Dilution. Simple. It all boils back to dilution. Now, I think we likely get something like we did in 2022. It was very beneficial to AMC in 2022 to do this, to say, we're not going to dilute shareholders until the second half of 2024 at the bare minimum. If we get something like that, then I see AMC stock rallying big time from here. It will attract a lot more institutional money into AMC. And that is, ultimately what we want to see at this point. So that and the recent, activity we've seen in AMC, these are both things that I think can be, game changers, can change everything for AMC, at least here in the near term. And I'm starting to believe that maybe we will get some kind of confirmation from Adam Aron that, we're not going to continue to see dilution, at least in, the first part of 2024. Obviously, we'll see. But it's starting to look like that, at least in my opinion. Now, let's get into some other things you need to know about our markets today and what's happening out there. So the 7-year bond auction that came out at 1 p.m. is what is starting to give stocks some downside pressures. And that's because the yield came in at 3.85%, still a little bit higher than what some people were expecting, although it was much lower than 4.39%, still not as low as what some people wanted to see, around 3.5% or so. So definitely still on a little bit of the higher end. And that is having somewhat of a downside effect or pressure on our markets, but really not a big deal in the grand scope of things. We have been green every single day so far of this Santa Claus rally. And typically, the Santa Claus rally gives you about a 1.4% gain in the S&P 500, dating all the way back to 1950. And you're usually green about 80% of the time. So it's not a big surprise that we're green during this period of time. Hedge funds and institutions are really away. Most of them are on vacations. They're not, even a part of the markets right now. So, they're kind of just, living their best life in the Bahamas or, Europe or something. Once we start trading again in, January, coming next week, that's where you're going to see a lot more volume and a lot more activity come back into our markets. And that's where you could see potentially more of that volatility, potentially to, the downside as well. We've rallied so aggressively here in our markets recently that expect some downside to come at some point. But how big is that downside going to be? I personally don't think it's going to be that big until we do get some form of recession fears or something along those lines. But nonetheless, you are in the technical Santa Claus rally as of right now. So, just don't be surprised if we're bullish, every day of the Santa Claus rally, because retail investors are kind of left to control the markets during this period of time. Now, currently, we're still pricing in 7 rate cuts at 38.6% odds. This is up from yesterday's odds of 36.3%. So you are firmly pricing in 7 rate cuts, 6 rate cuts at 37.4% odds. So yeah, it's neck and neck here. But I mean, you might start to price in 8 rate cuts if the economy or the economic data does start to, show some more weakness. Don't be surprised if you start to price in even more than 7 rate cuts. So definitely want to be watching that one pretty closely. No earnings, no more data throughout this week to really speak of. So yeah, it's going to be just kind of slow going from here. Now, AMC stock, let's go ahead and refresh this. Make sure we have the most up-to-date numbers. And for option activity, you have 82.79% of the volume to the call side, 17.21% of the volume to the put side. Still the same 2 orders from hedge funds and institutions with a 100% positive order value, totaling $102,000 today. If you take a look at the short positioning, you do have 8.55% short interest off your float, $130 million worth of short positions, days to cover 1.04, 21.15 million shares currently sold short, 18.99 million shares currently out on loan, cost to borrow 1.16%, 26.06% utilization, and 51.92 out of 100 for your short score. So numbers just don't look that great over here, but again, I think these numbers are false. I think AMC stock is, hundreds of percents sold short. And I think, only time will tell exactly how this does play out, but I don't believe these numbers at all as far as Ortex here right now. The cost to borrow numbers across the board, about 8.6%. So keep that in mind. Numbers actually coming up a little bit from where we have seen them recently. Across the board, being 8.6% is a lot higher than where they were yesterday. Yesterday was 1.5% for the cost to borrow average, 1.5% for the cost to borrow minimum, and 1.4% for the cost to borrow max. I don't know how that makes any sense, but yeah, so numbers have gotten a little bit better for cost to borrow fees here today, but really nothing else to speak of. Not a whole lot happening. If we take a look at 10-year treasury yields here on the day today, they're actually up about 6 basis points. So you are getting some pressure on our markets, guys. That is going to go ahead and do it for this video. Again, continue to see if we can get a bounce and continue to make our way to the upside. AMC stock on the RSI is 37.56. So definitely you could see a larger upside move from here before you start to get on the overbought side. You're not even close to being neutral, let alone overbought. So definitely more runway for an upside movement there. And the MACD is pretty much not doing anything. Slightly bullish, but still not a lot going on, guys. So actually, we can take a look at what different charts are doing today as well. TLT down about 1% today. That's probably what is giving you some weakness across the board in our markets. USO down about 2% today. The dollar down 0.5% today. That is actually great news. Gold is pretty much flat. Gold just continues to go higher. Gold really makes you wonder if there's something under the surface going on that maybe we should know about. Not exactly the greatest. If you take a look at the overall option activity, 650 call, $7 call, $6 call, $7.50 call, $8 call, $9 call, and $10 calls. Seeing a lot of activity here, lots of volume here on the day today. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.